Americans, you better wake up if you want any freedom left. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, November the 20th, Thanksgiving week. And what a week we had, and what a bunch of crap that's going on in this world and in this market and across the board. And if you want to have any freedom remaining, you better wake up. And it starts with a very simple thing, like being able to count the votes, for crying out loud. We just had a lottery that had over 400 million tickets sold in 3 days, okay? And you had a result within hours. Yet, 2 weeks after the election, we're still waiting for the final tallies. You tell me where the problem lies, okay? And of course, it lies in the bullshit mail-in ballots. It lies in not tracking properly, people getting multiple ballots that they can vote off of. They don't check your identification when you go to the polls. Again, they're stealing your freedom, okay? You may think, hey, and I'm full of shit. Well, guess what? When you become part of the CCP and you become Chinese instead of English, you'll know that I was right and that your freedom is being disappearing, because this president is allowing everybody to run all over him. This party in power, including the progressive pricks that are nothing but America haters, are allowing everybody to run all over us like we were nothing. We are the world power. America is still the greatest country in the world, although slipping quickly, okay? And if we weaken ourselves too much further, there will not be a United States of America. And if you think I'm overhyping it, I'm not, all right? The freedom has been disappearing and drying up as we go. And now with the Fed coin, okay, the digital currency going into the market as a trial, okay, you're going to see that they will be able to track you from the moment you're born to the moment you die. All right, you have no freedom, you have no privacy. Okay, it's bad enough that they can track you everywhere now. Okay, but and then you had, of course, the FTX scandal. Okay, poor Tom Brady and all those rich billionaires that got waxed. But where'd all that money go? The scam. It went to the Democratic Party as donations. It was a roundabout way of creating a scam to keep the Democratic Party in power. Okay. Now again, I'll get to this in my commentary, but both the Republican and Democratic Party, as of today, are criminals anyways. Okay, that goes without saying. Not one of them that I know of, and I'm sure there's one out of the 600 involved, there may be one or two that have a care for America, but they care for your cash, because Americans get the privilege of bailing out all the BS bullshit. Okay, but from the crypto carnage, does that lead to the big crash that I think we're going to have? Well, it's a start. One of the things we have to remember, okay, when you continue to make money accessible and cheap and that anybody can get it, okay, what are you really doing? Okay, you are really allowing a lot of people to get too deep into debt. Okay, you are putting the banks at risk, and unfortunately, because of the way we do business, okay, the banks get bailed out by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve doesn't create any income or capital. So who bails out the Federal Reserve? Oh, the United States taxpayer. But you keep thinking that that's free money. Okay, you keep thinking that we're giving away free money to citizens. Okay, because you're paying for it. Okay, if you're listening to this, you're paying for it. All right, and I think that again, we continue to see that people, today's Americans, don't care about debt. They continue to pile it up with credit card debt at all-time record highs. I don't know what that means for Christmas. I don't know how many people have any money left on their charge cards. Okay, but of course those rates, if you aren't aware, okay, are usury rates, And if you get maxed out and you can't pay the full balance, you'll never get out. Okay? The debt structure in this country has become comical. The ignorance of Americans and the ignoring of any problems is a joke. Inflation, even though over the past couple of weeks we've seen a dip in CPI and a dip in PPI, okay, which are inflation numbers, they're not accurate. Okay, they're not accurate to what Americans spend their money on. Okay, and remember, any government number can be somewhat manipulated, but either way, I urge you to look at what you spent last year and what you're spending this year, and I assure you it's more than a 7.7% rate hike to yourself of what you're paying for goods and services. I would venture to say that you're spending 25 to 30% more, and that's if you can get the goods. Okay, you go to the grocery store and the shelves are empty. You go to Walmart, the shelves are empty. Okay, now again, you can say, okay, no big deal, it doesn't affect me. Well, I always quote that Martin Niemöller poem, okay, where the first day came for, in his poem, the first one, I think, first they came for the Protestants. I wasn't a Protestant, I didn't get involved. Then they came for Bubba, and then they came for me, and there was no one left to help me. Well, this is your chance, America, to step up, okay, and make it known that we're sick and tired of the shit from this government, okay? The U.S. Treasury curve, the yield curve it's called, which bonds and notes go from bills, 30-day bills, and then at 2 years they turn into notes, and at over 30 long-term they turn into bonds, but same thing. And there's a yield curve. The cheapest rates are supposed to be in the nearest term. Well, it's upside down now, okay? The most expensive rates are in the short, okay, which is why you can now get a 3-month CD for somewhere between 3 to 3.5 to 4%, okay, versus about, you can get less than 1% a year ago, okay, and of course it's called an inversion, which is a recession indicator. Now, I don't care what the economists, the morons, the government says about recession, we are in a recession, and it is not getting any better, okay? You can kiss my ass if you think it's getting better, okay, because this is not getting better. This is getting worse, okay? And the more power we give up and the more we drain our strategic petroleum reserve and give oil to China, okay, the more that Europe and Russia struggle to get natural gas, because, again, you can't sanction somebody and make the sanctions work unless you're willing to go after them financially, which, of course, they're not. In fact, President Biden just spent another $39 billion to Ukraine. For what? Okay, so him and Hunter can have some more cash. Okay, again, this is not logical. None of it works. Okay, and of course, our FBI director, Christopher Wray, he gets to take the private jet on vacation. And if you're so worried about the environment, why do all the wealthy have private jets? What does that do to the carbon footprint? Okay, we think that magically that we're going to become climate clean and green energy and we're going to stop global warming. Well, first of all, global warming, in my opinion, is a bunch of bullshit anyways, okay? If you look at the Vostok index, the Earth goes in 80,000 year cycles, okay? And if you have more coal being burnt now than ever before, and you have your 40% of your population, which is China and India, who are never going to stop burning coal until they find something cheaper, okay? You're not going to change, okay? You're not going to bring down what pollution that we have, okay? And the United States of America is still the cleanest of all environments, okay? Now, then you take into consideration the housing collapse. Does that sound familiar to anybody? The housing collapse, wasn't that what caused or was one of the big factors in 2008? Well, we went through the same cycle again, like history repeats all the time. Houses were cheap because money was cheap. Money ain't so cheap anymore. And now some big time realtors that I know tell me that business is in the toilet. Okay, they were as hot as a firecracker, now they can't sell a house. And the sellers can't sell because they got nowhere to buy. So all of a sudden, we have an excess inventory of housing. As I look here in Las Vegas, all the new construction, I will bet you that a lot of those go unbuilt now. Okay, they've got halfway built. I bet they don't get to finish them. The supplies are too high. The labor costs are too high if you can get labor. Okay, and nobody can afford them. They're already making deals. Okay, I bought my house. It went up 50%. I bet you it's down now. But I don't really care because I'm not moving. But that's not the point. Okay, the point is that the money is and interest rates are going higher. Right now, the 10 years at about 4% and change. Okay, it's going to 6%, possibly by the first quarter of next year, which puts mortgage rates at about 10%. How much housing do you think we're going to sell then? And how easy do you think the monetary policy is going to be for you to borrow money with your low 615 credit score? Okay, it ain't going to be so easy. The higher the money gets, the tougher the borrowing becomes. Okay, but we have definitely a recession in hand. Okay, we have jobs being cut everywhere. Okay, from Amazon, who cut 10,000 jobs the other day, to Twitter, who Elon Musk has taken over, but every major tech company has had massive layoffs. We don't have enough people working. We've lost 572,000 jobs, full-time jobs since May, which means that the employment role is being filled out by people that have to work more than one job and are working part-time jobs. Okay, so you can look at anything you want, but what I can guarantee you is if you continue to sit back and accept this bullshit, you're going to lose all of your freedom. Okay, we're going to end up like any other communist or socialist country where you don't have freedom. You've got no diesel fuel. Now, how are they going to deliver packages and goods? What do you think the Christmas season is going to bring when stores don't have enough goods in stock to sell? Okay, you have a world right now that is on the brink of major wars everywhere because of these policies that are starting here and going everywhere. You talk about the food shortage. So happy Thanksgiving. And I hope it's a great one, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive. And again, if we continue at this pace and we continue to let the imbeciles run the country the way they're running it without saying anything, next Thanksgiving is not going to be anything to be thankful for. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. We're going to step out of here for a break, and we'll be back with more of Bubba's Bottom Line right after the break. What's up, kids? Well, as you know, I've got a couple of sponsors that sponsor the program every week and every day and every week. But again, I want to remind you to check them out. Look, again, at the end of the day, okay, you don't have to do any business with them you don't want to. That is entirely up to you. I have no issue. Again, I'm giving you things that I use myself. I vet everything myself. I use them myself. And I've got two brokerage partners, one being Capital Trading Group for futures and commodities. And in fact, I have so much respect for them. We're partners on Day Trader's Dream and some other products, okay? Because again, they can do the executions. They get the best customer service. Check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. It's scrolling on the side in case I talk too fast. And of course, our Las Vegas event is in 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks from Monday, the cocktail party. Be the greatest training event you've ever had, okay? Trade Your Brokerage, who's our equities and options broker, it only charges $10 a month, lets you auto trade our equity portfolios at no charge. Still the flat $10 a month because you pay for your membership, okay? And you're going to have cryptos soon. Are sponsoring our event. So if you have an account with Trader or you open one, you save $500. Okay, so it gives you the live stream for $500. You can still come in person. There's a couple of rooms left at $997. Okay, if you have an account with Trader or open with Trader, but it's try.trader.com/Bubba. And again, that is also scrolling to the side. Don't forget our high school program, which is failing quickly because, of course, along with losing our freedom, the teachers don't want to teach true financial literacy. They want to continue to teach the same socialistic values that our children learn in schools. Very scary thought. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. Let's get back to it in my market report right now. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 20th of November. And of course, Thanksgiving is Thursday, and should be a very, very dead week in markets, very much as it was last week. Okay. And I think this is another problem that we see starting to exist, is the lack of market participation, the lack of activity in markets, the lack of people willing to trade these markets as volume and liquidity continue to dry up. Now, we always continue to carry our portfolio positions, but as I've told my day traders that I trade every morning for an hour with, okay, look, we're taking off this week because there's just nothing to do, okay? I just don't see any purpose to get really involved. But as we look at markets, I mean, they were a big nothing, okay? Equities were pretty much flat for the week, slightly down with the exception of the Dow. And again, that is not a bullish sign when the Dow is the strongest. That is more a sign of weakness. That is where people run when they're afraid, because the Dow is still the Dow. Even though it is an antiquated garbage index, it is still the Dow. And of course, we would tell you that, but basically everything is pretty much near the flat line. We are still long across the board. All right. Not that I love it, because I really don't. But again, I don't argue with the algorithm nor the trend. And of course, if we look at the dollar, which we are short, had a little bit of a bump, but I mean virtually nothing. Again, most major plays were pretty much flat. The euro currency, which we're long, was basically flat, as the dollar was flat, and we're short. Bitcoin, which we're short, had a little bit of a bump. And again, obviously the carnage going on in the crypto world. Look, I'm a believer in crypto still. In fact, if you haven't got involved and you've had interest, this might be a time. You want to buy into distress. But again, remember, in this market especially, if you be aware, you could lose everything. Okay, this is if this collapses, it could collapse. So you have to be prepared in the crypto world to lose it all. Okay, the bonds and notes continue to now run again a little bit, and that gives false sense of security. I think interest rates are going up. The Fed tells us they're going to keep hiking. And the lending rate to banks, when that goes up, the lending rate to the individuals go up. Okay, now we're long, but I hate them. I'd like to be short them, but again, we're long bonds and notes. Okay, the metals had a little bit of a rough week last week, but they look pretty good. I think that we're getting ready to make a pretty good solid move higher here. You know, the silvers look great and platinums look great the last couple of months. Gold is still struggling, but it looks a little bit better now. So I think we might be staged for a pretty good move up in the metals, and we are long everything but platinum, and we would be long platinum, except it's not liquid enough for us to trade it. But again, I'm always a physical buyer, okay, and a trader of the paper. Copper was ugly, and we're still long, which is surprising. I didn't like the long in the first place, as I told you last week, and I think that copper's going a lot lower. Again, this goes to building. You know, Dr. Copper, you've heard the term in the past. In the grain markets, look, the grains are mixed, okay, but they really have gone nowhere. They are almost sound asleep. It's almost like somebody's sitting on them, okay, and trying to hold the weight down. And it is one thing that can be done. You know, I know everybody wants to go to manipulation, to all that bullshit. Again, manipulation now, but short-term market control under certain circumstances can take place. And I think that's what you're seeing in many of the commodities. You know, commodities trade a little bit thinner to begin with, okay? And if you know what you're doing and you have enough capital, you can keep the lid on it. And I think what you're seeing is some of the bigger funds that are trying to accumulate these commodities, because I think that 2023 could be a big boom market for commodities, okay? I think it could be a big boom time, okay? So I think that they're trying to accumulate right here. In the meantime, we're short corn and wheat, and we're long beans. They're all pretty much in the flat line. I wouldn't give either one any thought. And the same goes for the meats, okay? The protein complex, they call it cattle, fats and feeders, and hogs. Again, they kind of churn basically with oil, you know, whether you're going to buy steak or pork chops, right? Because pork is cheaper. But interestingly enough, you know, last year in this time I said that December hogs are very expensive, and this year they're 30% higher than they were last year at this time. But again, I think they're going higher. I don't think they're going much lower, even though we're short cattle. I don't think they're moving. I think they're going to be in a band trading for quite a while until we get some market direction. And in natural gas, we're still short. Okay, it's had a couple of bumps up here, but remember we were at $11 or so. Now we're at $6 or $5. Okay, and it looks like it's again, this is not the season that you'll see too much panic because we're now ready for it. Okay, so we'll see. Again, not that I'm happy, but I don't ever mind this time of year because the shortage factor is not in play here. Okay, crude oil had a rough week. We're still long. Again, I think crude's going a lot higher, but you're seeing some pressure put on it. And again, I think some of this was done pre-election to try to dictate election. That might have helped a little bit. But I think that you're going to see crude next year making all-time new highs. I think that we're going to see a shortage, and especially in a lot of states that don't have any access to pipelines. So we'll see what that looks like. In the meantime, we're still long. In the softs, cocoa was down a little bit. We're long. Cotton was down a little bit. We're long. Sugar exploded higher. We're long. OJ was down a little bit, and we're short now after riding it all the way up. And coffee continues to get hammered, okay, which will remain short. So I'm not sure, where we're going to go, but I do see, my thoughts of a commodity bull market have not changed. I think it's coming. In the meantime, we'll stop out here for a break and remind you probably not to trade this week. Certainly you can take a look, but if there is no action on the opening, then you're probably looking at no action. Remember, it's a short week. With a holiday in the middle, short day on Friday, and even though Wednesday's a full day, it's really like a half a day, and probably Monday and Tuesday as well. So in the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be right back after the break. Well, kids, again, I'm not going to read all the sponsorship stuff yet. Capital Trading Group, Trade Your Brokerage, who's sponsoring our Vegas event, our high school program, Capital Trading Group, and Trade Here are scrolling on the side. They're links. You can check them out. And on the bottom is the high school program. Check it out. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Again, I'm trying to do it for you. These are places that I use, and I'd like to help educate America. As hard as it is, I'm still working at it. Okay. Now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary and my football pick. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, the 20th of November. And, well, I don't know. This is a long commentary, but I'll sum it up as best I can. The American political system is broken. The Democrats and Republicans alike are both criminals. Okay? Again, I'm not pointing any fingers. They're both criminals. Okay? They're all criminals. They're stealing our money. They take raises. They drive Teslas. They have a good old time at the expense of the American people, because remember, government creates nothing but debt, okay? And every bill they make, decision they make, does not have your best interest. We, the American people, get to foot the bill. I am sick and tired of having career politicians. Americans, we must step up and force them to put term limits on every single office, not just the President of the United States. Okay, we need to force them to make the right decisions and live by a budget. It's going to take a while, okay? But you have to teach your children, who are being taught the exact opposite, okay, in schools, which is why we try to put the high school program together. But our kids are brainwashed from the time they're born. And of course, when you're taken care of by your parents, okay, early in life, which we all are, everybody's born an idealist, okay? And as you get older, you start to realize, and I'm not telling you to lean one way or the other. In fact, as you know, or if you don't know, I'm a libertarian. I don't care what you do with your social values. That's up to you, okay? What I do is I do care what the government does with my money, okay? And I don't like the fact that we don't have a choice to vote in a libertarian candidate because they can't get on the ballots. But we must get term limits. We can no longer have another Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell, and all the others. Again, I don't remember all Bernie Sanders, and I'm not picking on the left. here. Those are the ones I can remember right now off the top of my head that have served way too long. Okay, why are they professional politicians? That's what I want to know. We need to get to term limits. And the only way we can get there is the American people have to force them to, first of all, raise the Social Security age. And I know most of you who are close to Social Security don't want to raise it, but it's better for you and better for your kids. And we have to force them into term limits. And the only way that can be done is through the voting and through issues that are created by us, the citizens. Because if you don't want to lose all your freedom and you want to become China or some other communist country or socialist country, then you better step up soon, because it's coming faster than you think it's coming. In the meantime, it is a football Sunday, and of course, we like, believe it or not, the Chicago Bears again. Maybe they can screw us again this week, but we're going to take the +3. Okay, we like the Rams on the money line against the Saints. Why the Saints are laying points, I have no idea, and we love the Bengals to kick the crap out of the Steelers. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful that all of you take the time to listen. I appreciate you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. But of course, we'll have a Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a great one, and I am thankful to be a part of it. Take care, everybody.